Hi, and welcome to Better Utah Broadcast. My name is Katie. I'm the Communications Director here at Alliance for Better Utah. We have with us Lauren Simpson, our Policy Director. Hi, Lauren.
Hi.
And we have Chase Thomas, our Executive Director, here sitting next to me. Hi, Chase.
Hi.
As quoted in the Wall Street Journal, I will have you all know. Apologies for scheduling and then deleting the last one. This snow day has really messed us all up, so we just got here up, and we're up here on the Capitol.
And hopefully you can hear us through your speaker microphone thingy.
Yeah, let us know if you can't hear us. Send us a here. Anyway, so ostensibly we're up here watching all these other bills going on, right, Lauren? Like, it's not just about Medicaid expansion.
It's not. We've been dropping the ball. We have 3 interns right now, and they're really holding down the fort.
Karen helping us out on
Yeah.
all those other bills. So what kind of stuff, let's get into Medicaid expansion towards the end, but for right now, what kind of stuff are we following? There is one bill that we are going to be talking about in committee today, right? Which one is that?
Yes, that is Carrie Ann Lisenby's Down syndrome abortion bill. So this is the same bill that she brought last year, but with one change. Last year, a lot of the outcry with that bill was that it was unconstitutional and it would require the AG's office to challenge Roe v. Wade and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
This year, there's a caveat clause at the end that says it won't go into effect until, a court of binding authority says it's okay.
Uh-huh.
That's because it's being challenged in Indiana right now, and they're in the Court of Appeals and should be probably going to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So now they're hitching their ride on someone else rather than having us spend money to pay the lawyers.
Which, great that Utah is going to pay millions of dollars for a Supreme Court appeal. However, that reduces this bill. Now that we know it's not actually about prohibiting abortion right now, it's just a message bill.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, sorry, I was just seeing Gary, Indiana through my head the minute you said Indiana, and I can't not do that. So that's a music theater background, my bad.
So yes, as written, it is constitutional. Good job, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron. All right, so what else are we following? Anything else in particular we want to talk about?
Yeah, Representative Kim Coleman has a bill which would allow counties to segregate if the part that wants to leave votes in favor. And now, so the change that this bill makes is it no longer requires the county as a whole to vote in favor of the split, only the part that wants to leave. So,
okay.
It's like if a teenager wants to run away from home, now the teenager's vote is the only vote that matters.
And the parents do not get a say at all.
Yeah. And so the reason that bill is concerning is because, we know that Southwest Salt Lake County wants to secede from
the Salt Lake Union.
The greater Salt Lake Union, because they are rich and they are conservative and they do not like being part of a county that is not.
But then also San Juan County,
yes.
Because how dare those Navajos have a say in county government and get elected to the commission?
Even worse, they're Democrats.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty appalling, actually.
So that we're really
Sarcasm.
concerned about a potential racial schism in San Juan County because of white flight. All the white Republicans in San Juan County up north are going to want to form their own county and leave the other half with essentially no tax base. Because a lot of that is Native American reservation land. So that's super concerning. There's an article about it in the Salt Lake Tribune today that you can check out by Brian Mathley.
And it quotes our favorite person, Phil Lyman.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Who
Who
by the way,
adores us.
we got quite a bit of credit from him for whatever it was.
Oh yeah, he was saying that we have control over the prosecutor's office, right?
That's super interesting.
He went to jail because of us, because we
Flattered.
convinced the prosecutors to take our facts.
But that's not true.
Yeah, whatever. All right. So, anything else before we move on to Medicaid expansion?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay, so let's move on to Medicaid expansion / the ballot initiative process. So, fun fact, as I was writing my 3rd iteration of my op-ed last night, I was, looking up the ballot initiative process, and Utah was the 2nd state in the nation to formally get a ballot initiative process. And that was in 1900. And of course, this year last year we got 3 initiatives through. And, a lot of us, ourselves included, myself in particular, have been really caught up in the tiny bits of the bill and, the policy aspects and the money aspects. And as we kind of stepped back, or at least myself, what I'm stepping back and realizing is, and it's taking me a weird amount of time to do this, is that it's not about expansion, and it's certainly not about the money, right? Because they are using unsourced, unsubstantiated numbers. We're still not quite clear what's going on. We do have a fiscal note, but there are questions about the estimates from the governor's office. For example, the biggest question that nobody can seem to answer is, do all of these fiscal analyses take into account the savings that are actually brought to the state and the fact that Medicaid expansion is in fact a massive economic boom for the state? And if you have questions about that particular aspect of it, you should go and read Robert Gehrke's column from today. It was, right on. He addressed a lot of these issues, and we are certainly not saying that Prop 3 was perfect. We know that there are probably a couple of things that could be adjusted, and in fact, there is a bill, isn't there, to fix those things?
Yeah, that's Ray Ward's bill, HB 210, I believe. He, as you probably know, is the only Republican who's really championed Medicaid expansion.
He's a physician, right?
Yeah, so he knows the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're currently holding that bill hostage in the House Rules Committee because House leadership wants to pass through SB 96 as fast as possible without any opposition. Apparently, they've been corralling freshman lawmakers into the Speaker's office and saying you have to vote party line for this bill. So they're really taking out all the stops on that. And Ray Ward says he doesn't expect his bill to be heard.
Mm-hmm. So let's be super, super clear when we talk about this bill. So we just gave a little bit of dive into the financial aspect. And let's be very clear. That question about how we fund this has been asked and answered with Prop 3. And then further with HB 210. There is not a financial question here. What is that question at this point is the power of the people of Utah to exercise their constitutional right to be a co-equal authority with the Utah legislature and create their own legislation and govern themselves. That is what is at question right here, because right now, SB 96, which is the Medicaid repeal and replace bill, and then repeal bill, is about power. It is about the power that the Utah legislature wants to have and wants to keep, and it is about ideology.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Yeah, I think, and that's the high-level view that lawmakers are trying to get around right now, is because whenever voters reach out to them and say, don't repeal the will of the people, they're like, well, we're not. Did you actually read the bill? How about this? How about this? How would you propose that we pay for this? Blah, 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 blah.
Prop 3 is how we would propose.
Yeah, and so they're trying to make them prove that they're experts on the issue before they're able to have a voice in their government.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're able to successfully pass SB 96 through, they're going to have those same standards for every single initiative or voter-approved issue that comes in the future. This really is an anti-democratic move to tamp down the voice of the people in their government.
Right.
And we know that because even if you're like, oh, well, like, what if this bill's a good idea? If it was done the right way, it wouldn't have been rammed through the Senate, and it wouldn't be fast-tracked, to get to Governor Herbert's desk by the end of the week.
Right.
It, Prop 3 took a long time to put together, reached a broad consensus. Everybody voted for it. So the legislature really has the burden of proving that their idea is better.
Yeah.
And when you rush something through so fast that nobody else can oppose it, committee meetings cut short, Senate's voting
The second committee bill,
before a fiscal note
the
even
second
existed.
committee heard on the day when the snow is so deep that nobody can actually get up here. It took me 3 hours to
Right,
get
yeah.
here.
right. So if you cared about doing it right, you would do the opposite of everything that the legislature is doing right now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I saw one comment that really hit home for me. I think it was on Jim DeBackus's live video stream the other day. And there was this woman who said, I didn't vote for Prop 3 and I oppose Medicaid expansion, but this still is something that pisses me off.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's because when it came to Prop 2, when the legislature did the same thing, it pissed her off. And this should be for every single issue. It shouldn't be if you support or oppose Medicaid expansion, because it could come out with a super conservative initiative, and if for some reason the legislature doesn't agree with it, they can just gut it. And that's the standard that they're setting right now, is that they don't care what the people say.
Right. This isn't like oh, my team wins, your team loses, because the legislature is jumping through hoops to do what we want. Like when the legislature overrides ballot initiatives like this in such a fundamental way, everybody loses.
Right. And the thing that's so funny is in Utah, we like to talk a lot about compromise. Compromise is sacrosanct, and compromise is good. But the time to compromise was not now. The time to you can't compromise on democracy.
Well, and this isn't a compromise either.
No, it's not a compromise, but they're trying to pretend like it is. They're like, oh, we're compromising, we're giving you Medicaid expansion, but we're blah, blah, blah. And let's also be very clear, what they're doing is I realized last night that this is the quintessential passive-aggressive bill, which is super perfect for Utah, because what it is it's a soft repeal. It's like, guys, we're trying really hard to honor the wishes of the people, and it's all predicated on a waiver that is not going to happen, or at least it has not yet happened in any other state. And so when that waiver is denied or that waiver is put off indefinitely, what happens? If the waiver is denied, in the bill it says full Medicaid expansion is repealed. So it's a soft repeal.
Yeah, and I mean all these, all of the things that they have included inside the bill are things that they have already tried passing before and have not gotten through.
Yeah.
So last year they submitted waivers for work requirements, for enrollment caps, per capita caps, whatever you're going to call them. They have tried to get up to 100% before, but all those things did not get approved. And so voters approved full Medicaid expansion, and then they were just like, oh no, we're going to go back to these things that we've already tried before.
That don't work, right?
Right.
So here's a good question. Wouldn't HB 210 be a change that you should also be angered by? Why are we not angered by HB 210?
Because it respects the intent of the people in Prop 3. Right now, Prop 3 could go through and be fiscally solvent for at least the 2 years. We don't
By
know what's
conservative
going.
estimates.
Yeah, we don't actually know what's going to happen beyond that. The fiscal notes right now are guessing, and they are taking the most liberal guesses they can because they want to have as big of a price tag as they can possibly have on it. And so it could go through right now, but Representative Ward's bill would make a few small fiscal funding
Specifically the hospital tax.
Yeah,
It would
hospital
reach the
assessment
hospital.
and the way that increases for provider care go up each year. So it would make those small changes to ensure that it's fiscally solid for years 3, 4 to come. But we don't even know if that's necessary.
Yeah.
And so it respects the legislative intent of the people, which was use our tax dollars, raise them to cover Medicaid expansion, full expansion.
So Ray Ward's bill would, like Tree said, make it fiscally solvent for longer, and it would not cut care in any way. It would still cover up to 138% of the poverty line, no work requirements, no sneaky stuff. It's just a bill to make Prop 3 stronger.
It would do what voters voted for.
Yes,
Right.
And those are the kind of changes that are okay, because a lot of the pushback that you hear to ballot initiatives is like, well, this is like, it's like making law with a sledgehammer. Like, it's a really ineffective way to do it. And that's true. I mean, sometimes a sledgehammer is the only way to get through to the legislature. So this is the kind of technical fix that you want to see legislators making to make sure that what people voted for is as strong as possible.
Right, because what we would love to see, which Ray Ward's bill does, is them approaching the table and ready to lead the table, expanding Medicaid fully because that's what the people wanted, and then willing to have conversations about how to have that done.
Yeah.
The people did not want partial expansion. We didn't want caps. We didn't want work requirements. We didn't want anything else. What we asked for is full expansion, full stop. And so these legislators pretending like they're, not to be excessive, but like trying to tell people what they actually wanted or what they actually believed or what they actually thought about the initiative is just mind-boggling to me. In a way, they are trying to gaslight the voters into thinking this is what you really wanted.
Oh, totally.
The voters knew what they wanted. We wanted full expansion. And so that is beginning and end of your conversation with your reps, the governor, and scream it on Twitter.
Yeah, well, and the complete opposite is offensive too, with lawmakers saying they had no idea what they were voting for because they didn't understand the proposition. They didn't read it. They didn't know exactly how the budget works and how it's going to fit into it. I will say the majority of lawmakers, super majority probably even, do not understand how the budget works.
Yeah.
They don't understand every single bill and how it impacts every single code of law. And they just vote on what they're told.
And if you want proof, watch the last day of the session.
Oh, yeah.
The last 20 minutes. they're whipping through bills and nobody knows it's being passed.
Yeah,
But they
I mean, like the
just-
inland port bill.
Yeah.
They went and substituted it on the second to last day of the session. Nobody understood everything it did. Even Greg Hughes didn't understand because he appointed himself to the board and thought he could.
Yeah.
Whoops. So here's the thing. If you are a body of power and you are trying to concentrate your power and the people kind of rise up and say, this is what we want and this is what we're doing, the most effective way to kill engagement is to throw random facts and figures at people, try and throw mud into the air and confuse them with unsubstantiated claims that people don't have the time to debunk, and then do it super, super fast. That is how, and that is exactly what we are seeing on this bill. It is very, very evident what is happening here. So, I mean, make your call to your reps. That's in the House. Make your call to the governor. Ask him to veto this, and then like be as loud as you can. Be as loud as you can online. Be as loud as you can with friends from other states. People need to know what's going on here because this is a low key. I mean, it is. We put on our Facebook page the other day an anti-democratic travesty, and that's exactly what this is. This is a full-on undermining of the will of the people. And that's it.
Should we answer this question before we go?
Sure. Why no work requirements?
Or what counts as the intent? Just to give a little background, I don't know if everybody already knows this. So the bill that was in place that Utah did not get waivers approved for had work requirements, went up to 100% of the federal poverty level. You can't go higher than 138.
Had the caps.
Yeah, had caps. So that's what was already in place. So what Utah's voted on in Prop 3 was whether we wanted to increase the people covered from that bill.
If they were fine with the bill or the law as already stood, they wouldn't have voted for Prop 3 to fully expand Medicaid. They would have been fine with this program that they're now saying, oh, this is our compromise with you all.
Right. So call your reps and also know that we will be fighting to hold everyone who votes against this accountable in 2020. So
votes for it.
Get ready.
Yeah,
Yes.
we need
Who
people
votes
screaming.
against Prop 3 and for this repeal bill?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, you know, it's worth noting that the people who are going to continue suffering the most if this bill passes are people in rural Utah, are people in areas where there's not a lot of healthcare infrastructure. Stuff, you know, Medicaid expansion, full expansion is the most helpful to people in those areas. And, you know, our sister organization, ABU Education Fund, just put out a report about the economic status of our 16 rural counties in Utah, and all of them went through, you know, in each one, there's like one hospital, or there's, you know, like resources for medical care are scarce. And this full Medicaid expansion would help that. And so when the legislature passes this thing, they are going to be disproportionately impacting areas like rural Utah. And that's it. Anything else, guys?
Yeah, I don't know. This process is screwed up. I'm so pissed at.
We are full of righteous
I'm
fury.
really struggling not to be cussing on this broadcast right now.
I can tell.
Because I've been so mad ever since the first day of the session. It's only day 10, and I'm just like exhausted from being angry.
And rightly so, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, rightly so. The entire state should be fired up about this.
They should be, because if you voted for Prop 2 or Prop 3 or Prop 4, which we know they're coming out with a gut bill soon,
or even if you didn't.
They're saying your vote doesn't matter. That's exactly what they're saying.
Oh, and by the way, we may be putting this information out later, but there are 12 representatives in the House whose constituents voted for Proposition 3, who we expect will be voting against or voting to repeal Proposition 3. Some of whom, fun fact, some of these legislators received less of the vote than Prop 3 did in their district. So keep that in mind as we announce those names. All right, guys, we're going to go angrily get our salads.
Yeah, tater tots.
Tater tots.
Solidarity.
I'll
Bye.
see you guys.